Hello students, in this session we will discuss about what are the various ways in which we can refine the initial database that we had considered. Right, in the previous class we have seen we had considered there was an attribute known as manager of department, but now we are going to refine it and we'll be making it as a relationship type. Then we had also a attribute known as works on in the entity type employee, which will be converting it into a relationship type as works on. Then we had considered a attribute known as department, which we had considered it in employee entity type. Now we will convert it into a relationship type known as works for. Okay, then what we will do is, in general, more than one relationship type can exist between the same participating entity types. That is, here in this database, we have considered managers and works for are distinct relationship types, but they exist in between the two entity types. No, they are employee and department. That means between this employee and department table, we have two relationship type that are going to exist. One is your managers, another one is works for, and different meanings and different relationship. But the thing is, they have different meaning and different relationship type instances in between the various relationship type. Then what do you mean by a recursive relationship type? A relationship type hosts with the same participating entity type in distinct roles. If we consider the example of supervision relationship, here we are going to consider a single entity type, that is an employee, which participates twice in two distinct roles. One role as a supervisor or the boss, second role as a supervisee or the subordinate role. Each relationship instance relates to two distinct employee entities. One employee in supervisor role, another one in a supervisee role. Okay, you can consider a diagram over here. Consider an example of supervision as a relationship type. Here what we have is, we have an employee table. This employee table is considered twice, and we'll be having a line joining supervision and the employee. If we consider employee E1, and we can see from there we have a line, right? And we have a supervision instance R1. This supervision instance R1 is joining two employees. One is employee E1 and another one is employee E5. And we have written a numbering like 2, 1, this, right? What does it mean? Relationship instance R1, it indicates that employee E5 is working as a supervisor for the employee E1, right? In the same way, if you consider instance R2, wherein E1 is the supervisor for E2, because we have written 1 in between E1 and R2, and in between E2 and R2 we have written 2, right? In the line joining from E1 to R2 we have written 1, and E2 to R2 we have written 2. That means E1 is a supervisor for E2 employee. So this is known as recursive relationship. Then we will study about constraints on relationships. Constraints on relationship types, there are many things. They are also known as ratio constraints, and we can divide these constraints on relationship types into two categories. One is cardinality ratios that specifies the maximum participation, and another one is existence dependency constraint, or it specifies the minimum participation, and it is also known as participation constraint. First, let us consider the cardinality ratio. Cardinality ratio specifies the maximum participation. Here we can have 1 is to 1, 1 to n, n is to 1, or m is to n. We will see what actually it is. This is an example of n is to 1 relationship, right? Here we have employee as entity type and we have department as entity type. In between employee and department, we have a relationship type as works for. What does this mean? We have a line joining from E1, R1, D1. That means employee E1 works for department D1. Then we have E2, R2, D2. That means employee E2 is working for department D2. Here we have n is to 1. What does it mean? N is to 1 specifies here many employees can work for a single department. You can see department D1. D1 is having incoming lines from E1 as well as from E3 as well as from E6. That means many employees can work in a department, any department. So it is known as N is to 1. But the thing is, here maximum, the thing is a single employee can work for at least one department and at most one department. Then we have M is to N, right? M is to N is nothing but employee E1 works on project P1 and employee E2 works on project P1 again. What does this mean? M is to N means any number of employees can work on any number of projects, right? Employee E1 can work on project P1, P2, P3, P4, and in project P1 we can have any number of employees. So here we don't have any participation, here we don't have any restriction. So it is known as M is to N. Any number of employees can work on in any number of projects. This is what we have seen, how the recursive relationship is being displayed, right? Both participations are same entity type in different roles. For example, supervision relationships between employee and in other form we are considering the same table employee but as a role of worker or a subordinate. In following figure, first role participation labeled with 1 and second role, that is a subordinate or the worker role, is labeled with 2. In ER diagram, need to display role names to distinguish the participant. Okay, you can see over here employee, we have employee table and we have a supervision as the entity type, right? So this is how a recursive relationship type is explained in terms of ER diagram. Here you can see employee supervision. In the ER diagram, what we do is we will write the name of the role, right? That is employee, whether he is working as a supervisor or supervisee. From left hand side you can see we have written supervisor, right hand we have written supervisee. That is employee is a supervisor for another employee, or else if we take from left to right, this employer is working as supervisee under a particular supervisor. Then attributes of relationship types. What we have seen, entity has its own attribute set. Now we will be saying relationship types have their own attributes when they come into existence. We'll see it. Okay, a relationship type can have attributes. For example, hours per week of works on. If you consider works on relationship type, it has its own attribute known as hours per week. What does it mean? This attribute hours per week, it signifies a particular person, he is working for so many hours on a particular project P1 or any project over there. Its value for each relationship instance describes the number of hours per week that an employee works on a particular project. And hours of value of hours per week depends on a particular combination of employee and project. And most relationship attributes are used with M is to N relationship. And if you are considering a relationship which is 1 is to N relationship, they can be transferred to entity type on the N side of the relationship. This is an example of attribute of a relationship type. Consider a managers, right? Managers is a relationship type over here and it is having a attribute known as start date. This start date tells us when the particular employee has started working as a manager for a particular department, right? And apart from that, we can consider works on. Works on relationship type, again it has hours as the attribute type. What does it mean? This employee works on so many hours on a particular project, right? So we can consider over here hours is a attribute which is belonging to relationship type works on, and this cannot be shifted to the employee or the project, because it will have its existence only uh, if a particular employee is working on a particular project. Since it is M is to N relationship, the attribute type name should be attached to the relationship type only. It cannot be shifted to employee or the project. But if we consider a managers, if we consider the managers, there we have a start date, right? Then what we can do is we can shift this managers start date to either employee or the department, because it is 1:1 ratio. If I'm shifting this start date to the employee table, what does it mean? When a particular employee has started as working as a manager, that date will be recorded in a employee table. If I'm shifting this start date to a department table, that means uh, a particular employee has started as a manager, started working as a manager from so and so date in a particular department. That is very easy. But when we are dealing with n is to 1, then what's going to happen is, if we consider employee works for department, then if we have any attribute which is attached to the works for, then that should be attached to the nth attribute, nth entity type. Here we have employee as n, right? Then that attribute should be attached to the employee table only. Then notations for constraints on the relationship, cardinality ratio. We can see, we can make use of 1:1, 1:n, n:1, or m:1, and it is shown by placing appropriate numbers on the relationship edges. Then we have something known as participation constraints on each participating entity type. Here we have total dependency or we have partial dependency. Uh, Total dependency is shown by considering the double line, and partial dependency is explained through the single line. And if you consider this table, this ER diagram, here we have works on, consider the works on relationship, wherein we have employee works on project. You can see in between employee and works on we have taken double line, right? Why we have taken double line is, there should be at least one employee who is working on a particular project, or else that project will not have its existence. In the similar way, uh, project, right, works on project, there should be at least one project, or else this project table will be having a null value. So here we have taken double line on both the sides. But when we consider employee managers department, when we consider employee managers department, in between managers and department we have taken double line. That means at least there should be one person who is working as a manager. It cannot be left blank. For that reason we have taken double line. But in between employee and managers we have single line. What does it mean? There can be a employee who is working as a normal employee, not as a manager. Then there will be no line connecting between employee and a managers table. Then we will see what is the alternative for this notation. The alternative for the ER diagram is min max over here. Min max is nothing but it is specified on each participation of a entity type E in a relationship type R. Here directly we will be going to the slide which explains the min max notation. Here we have taken employee 0, 1, managers 1, 1, department. What does it mean? Employee, managers, department. 0, 1. Here we have taken 0, 1. What does it mean? Here it's a partial dependency. That means a person can be a normal employee. If he is a normal employee, then there will be no line connecting between employee and managers. But if he is a manager, he will be having existence only one time, because he can be manager for only one department. So 0, 1. What does it mean? There might be some employees who are not managers. For that reason, they will not have their existence in this employee managers department. Or if someone is working as a manager, then he is working for only one, at the most only for one department. For that reason we have taken 1. In the right hand side we have taken 1, 1. That is min is 1 and max is also 1. That means there should be a manager for a department every time. That there cannot be any department without any managers. So 1 is minimum, 1 is maximum, because each department will have at the max only one manager, so it is 1 comma 1. If we consider employee works for department, here it is 1 comma 1, min is 1, max is also 1. What does it mean? Employee works for department, 1 comma 1 means there should be a employee, if he is going to exist, he should be working for a department, and at the most he can work for only one department. And in the right hand side we have, in between works for and department, we have 1 comma n. What does it mean? 1 comma n means there can be at least one person who is working for department, or else at the most we can have n number of people working for the department. This is a diagram which explains regarding this min max, right? Here we have 1 comma 1, 4 comma n. 4 comma n means at least there should be 4 employees working in any department, and at the most we can have n number of employees. Then we have works on, right? 1 comma n, and right hand side we have taken 1 comma n, right? 1 comma n in between works employee and works on. What does it mean? There should be at least one person who is working, and at the most we can have n number of people who are working. On the right hand side, in between works on and project, we have 1 comma n. That means at least one person should be working for a project, and at the max we can have n number of people working for the particular project. Okay, thank you.